Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda and I am autistic. I have ADHD. I have a memory disorder called SDAM and I also have total aphantasia. I talk about all of these on my channel, so check out the different playlists. Just a reminder, I'm not a medical professional. This is not medical advice. It is just my vlog about my late diagnosed experience of being neurodivergent. So my last couple of videos that I've posted, I was very regulated. I was able to speak pretty fluently, for an autistic person. My thoughts felt more in control, more gathered. But earlier this week, today's Thursday, earlier this week, I don't remember if it was like on Monday or Tuesday, all of a sudden, I just had this anxiety start to rise up inside me. And it's like I'm having a harder time holding onto my thoughts. And it's just been a really stressful week. The only thing that I can point to is the fact, as I mentioned a couple videos ago, we have some construction happening in our house, and that changed up my schedule pretty drastically. And then also just the noise of having the construction for many, many hours each day. Even though I try to do steps like leave the house for a couple of hours, but again, that's out of my routine, so it's still disruptive. But at least it was away from the noise, and then wearing noise dampening earplugs and things like that. But that's the only thing I can think of is that huge disruption just caused anxiety, because before that, I was actually in a really good place. There was one point recently where I was just laying out on a blanket on my front lawn, and I was just like enjoying the sun and the wind. And I made a TikTok and I was talking about how, like, wow, I feel really relaxed. Before my autism diagnosis, for me to actually ever feel fully relaxed took like a 3-day vacation, which was really rare, especially as a mom. Even when you're on vacation, you're not on vacation. So it would take a really long time for me to like, okay, I need to, and then I'd like have to like really intentionally focus on trying to relax. Every once in a while, if I would take like maybe an hour and a half yoga, nidra, no, I never took yoga nidra in person. I would take, starts with R, restorative. Thank you. The word just slipped out of my mind. I would take an hour and a half restorative yoga class, and like the first hour I'd still be tense, and maybe like the last 15 minutes of class I'd finally feel myself relaxing. It just, before my diagnosis, there was just always this undercurrent of anxiety that I lived with so much that I wasn't even aware of its presence. And then after my diagnosis, I'm becoming aware of the fact that I need to have downtime, and like after a dysregulating like construction event, I need to make sure I have time to unwind and unpack, like just regulate myself. I've been able to find peace and relaxation more naturally, more quickly. It's only happened a couple of times. This is months after getting diagnosed. I got diagnosed last fall. At first, it was anxiety up here all the time after my diagnosis, as I was just like spiraling, unpacking what my life meant as an autistic person. Like, really, even though I have memory disorder, like reliving in my own way all the ways that growing up undiagnosed autistic affected me and how it impacted my life. And I feel like I'm coming to like an other side of that hump, and I'm starting to feel like more comfort in my unmasking process, more comfort in who I am as an autistic person. And I know there's going to be dips and valleys, and I was really just feeling great. And then this last week, all of a sudden, like I said, this anxiety. And I think part of it also has to do with the fact that my body, after 42 years of living in such a high stress, constant life, it doesn't know how to not be stressed. And the fact that I did feel some moments of peace told my brain to be worried and to be stressed. Like, it feels like I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop. You hear about that sometimes? That's what it feels like. It's like, okay, everything's going too well. What is the bad news around the corner? And it sucks living like that. It's a horrible, horrible feeling because I'm not in danger right now. I'm telling myself I'm safe. Everything's okay. There's no reason to suspect that something bad is going to happen. Yes, you can't ever know what's going to happen in the future, but why can't it be something amazing or just the same, like status quo? It doesn't mean that something bad is going to happen. But my brain right now is sending me messages that to beware, danger, danger, you're too safe. Like, don't get comfortable, don't get complacent, because then the bad thing will happen. This is why a lot of late diagnosed autistic people also get diagnosed with PTSD. Our bodies really get into this like trauma response. We live in like this trauma. I have not been officially diagnosed with PTSD. I'm not worried about following up with a diagnosis about that right now. I wasn't abused or traumatized as a child in a specific way. It was just traumatized growing up neurodivergent in a society that expects you to be neurotypical and expects you to conform to neurotypical ways. When your brain doesn't function that way and you're forced to pretend to be that way, it causes trauma. And this is what researchers and scientists and doctors are now discovering about our entire generation of specifically women. There have been some men that have also been missed for diagnosis, so I don't want to exclude you, but AFAB, assigned female at birth, people of color, and just other minority groups that did not get diagnosed for autism because they were only focused on white boys. I mean, some researchers and doctors thought that autism only existed in white boys, and they would give girls that presented with autism different diagnoses that weren't actually the right fit. And some of those women in their adulthood are now unpacking because they were medicated incorrectly, because they were medicated for things like bipolar or depression when they didn't actually have depression. They had autistic burnout, which is different. And I have a video on autistic burnout. I often try not to edit out too many of my pauses because on my channel, I really want to give neurotypical viewers a window into what it would be like to actually be talking with an autistic person, because representation matters, and the representation in media is usually one specific way of what autism looks like, a very stereotypical male presenting, often the savants. There have been now some females cast as autistic, but again, those are just another presentation. And there's a lot of, I'm thinking of, oh gosh, what's her name? I only watched a couple episodes of, I think it's like Heartbreak High or something. It's just not my genre. And a lot of younger, like 20-something-year-old autistic people who weren't diagnosed as a kid, but they're being diagnosed in their 20s, are relating to that character. I don't relate to her because I'm in my 40s and high school was many, many years away. But there's so many of us in our 40s, 50s, 60s that just aren't represented in media. So I often try not to edit out my pauses, because a lot of times what will happen as autistic ADHD, I'm talking and then I'll either go on a tangent, or it's like all of a sudden just the thoughts just like all just disappear from my brain. And I'm just like frozen for a second. And it's like, oh, what was I about to say? And sometimes I can gather them quickly, but sometimes it's like I'll literally just kind of almost do it's verbal shutdown. And it's almost like I just freeze in space. Like right now I'm trying to show you what it looks like and talk at the same time, which doesn't work. But it's like I had another point I wanted to make in this video, and so I'm trying to grasp for it, and there's just nothing. It's like just nothing. And this is also what happens a lot when I'm feeling really dysregulated, because it's like I have all these things that I want to say, but my brain isn't working and isn't accessing the topics that I want to talk about. And the thing that would happen normally as a content creator, I would be like, okay, I'm just not going to post videos right now. But I want people to see the harder side of autism, not just when things are going well. People will say that autistic people often have a superpower because a lot of our traits are really things that neurotypical people actually admire about us. The reason why it hurts when we hear people call us like that we have superpowers is because we know that my brain just went to a tangent. Okay, we know that while people appreciate some of our traits, when we get dysregulated and we need accommodations and we need time and space, because like I, as a content creator, get to choose whether or not I want to create a video. If I had a job that I needed to report into and I woke up with my brain feeling like this, even though I know I'm really smart and have things that I can do and say, my brain isn't working with me today. But if I had to go into an office and I couldn't just say, hey, I need to take today off for a mental health break so that way I can come back and be super strong again tomorrow, a lot of works can't accommodate that. My tangent was talking about, presenting for neurotypical people to see, but also, I guess I did say that representation matters for the people who are autistic to also see themselves on media. Okay, so I took another long pause because this one's really hard for me, but I want to put it out there. So when I get like this, what neurotypical people don't see is that a lot of the upset is internal and doesn't look as upsetting as I feel on the inside. What I'm trying to learn how to do is how to regulate myself. So allowing myself to stim. Like right now, like I'm holding myself tight. I'm not even, because that's part of the trauma that was held into me, that stimming was trained out of me. Like I wasn't allowed to stim. So now some stimming behavior feels unnatural, and I have to just like let myself stim. Sometimes it's like grabbing a fidget toy, because that actually gives my hands something that my brain is like, okay, take it apart, put it up. Like that gives me something to focus on. And I can just doing this, I can feel my body start to calm down. Rocking is definitely a good one that my body naturally wants to do, but it was trained out of me because, if you're sitting there rocking, the adults would tell you, stop, be still, you're, don't move, don't wiggle, that kind of thing. And so this kind of behavior was trained out of me. But when I feel like a meltdown happening, which is what it feels like is trying to happen right now to my brain, rocking can just help my body regulate and calm down. So the first thing that happens if I'm in the middle of a meltdown and like I feel one coming on, like it's what it feels like right now, is that I do this rocking. And then after, okay, I'm gonna pause again. Okay, I just took a bunch of really deep breaths, trying to just ground myself. So the other things I'm going to do is just try to give myself a lot of grace today. I am privileged to be able to take the time I need when you're feeling like you're in an autistic burnout, meltdown, shutdown, whatever word fits your situation. If you can find the time to regulate and focus on your special interest, which I'm like kind of in between hyper focuses right now. A lot of ADHD people, we kind of flit and go between special interests, and I don't really have anything that's like super catching my attention right now. So that's another thing that's a little hard, and probably why I'm a little dysregulated right now, because I don't have anything I'm hyper focused on right now. But you pare down and you just try to like do the basic that you have to do for that day. Hydrate, eat, try to do a hygiene if you can. Not even all of it. Brush your teeth that day, wash your hair, just pick one, right? Whatever is your ability, but don't push past what you can do. I also sometimes feel good about focusing on a goal or a task. So as some of y'all know, I had foot surgery a little over 2 months ago. And this is the good news, is that I finally think that I am able to go back upstairs to sleep. I've been sleeping down here in my office. This is my pull-out couch that I'm sitting on. And so my goal today is to fold up my couch, put it away, and move all my stuff back to my bedroom, because I think I can now manage the stairs. So that's really good. That's going to give me something positive to focus on. One of the other things that I'm really just upset about today is I had asked my therapist if I could have another session this week, because I see a therapist once a week. But when I felt like I was just spiraling yesterday, I texted her and asked if we could have another appointment, and she said yes. And then she gave me 3 different time slots, and so I wrote back and said a time slot, and she didn't text back that she got my text, but I just was like, okay, I'm going to assume that she saw it and that she's just not saying, okay, got it. But I guess she didn't get my text, because when I went to log on this morning, there was no log on option, and I tried to text her and I tried to call her, but it didn't go through. So I didn't get the appointment that I was looking forward to, which was actually supposed to be happening right now. And that's one reason why I turned on the camera, because processing out loud is what really helps me. And so this channel has really helped me, and I know it's helped because of the comments. It's helped a lot of y'all, because not everybody has access to therapy, and me sharing my experience has helped people kind of break down their own experiences, and that just means the world to me. And that's why I do this. Like I said, I don't work. I don't have a job. I think it's something that I really haven't been capable of, especially pre-diagnosis. Now, after diagnosis and understanding what kinds of jobs may or may not fit my needs, and if I would be able to find an employer that could have accommodations and all of that, there would maybe be a possibility for me to find a job but I never really needed one because luckily my husband makes enough to support our family. And so I have fallen into more of the traditional stay-at-home mom role, which has worked out well for my my mental health for the most part. Being a disability advocate is something that I've always wanted to do, and I never knew how. And so this channel has been a way for me to fill that need in a way, and it's making me happy. And I'm, you know, I recognize and see my privilege, and that's why I choose to make these videos and put myself out there like this, because not everybody can, should, or wants to. But I think that autism awareness and advocacy is a need that isn't being completely filled, because we need as many voices that are able to and want to, so that more and more of us can unmask and be ourselves in public and be accepted by employers, because we have so much to offer. We just have to be able to regulate ourselves. I'm gonna pause one more time. So I don't know if there was really a point to this video. I hope that it helped. I tried to really bring home some different things in each video, but sometimes it is just a vlog and it's just what's going on with me right now and the experience that I'm experiencing. And it's not always good days, but it's not always bad days. The diagnostic process is a roller coaster. I've said that from the beginning. And I've had a really, really long period now of like good days, but I'm just really struggling right now. But I know now it will get better again, and it'll be okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go find something to do that is really, really stimmy, because I feel like I'm just vibrating in my body right now. Like I feel like all my muscles just want to, if I could run right now, I feel like I want to just go run, but I can't because my foot right now. So I need to find some other really big movement thing that I can do right now. So I'm gonna go do that, and I will see y'all on the next video.